Hi, and welcome to Westpac London's end-of-day report for Tuesday, May the 1st. Pretty quiet day in European equity markets, as you'd expect for the May Day holiday. Most of those markets closed. The London market did benefit from one of the banks reporting a better than expected result. It was Lloyds. But there was some disappointment that the UK factory PMI slipped from 51.9 down to 50.5 in its April reading. That's its lowest reading for the year so far. Not in sub 50 or negative territory like it was for most of the second half of last year, but nevertheless indicative of somewhat of a slowdown since earlier this year. But the big surprise was really the US ISM factory survey. It rose from 53.4 to 54.8 in April. It beat all analysts' expectations and contrasted, frankly, with the regional surveys that we saw preceding the ISM's release over the previous few weeks, but covering broadly the same survey period, that were mostly quite substantially softer. So the ISM factory index is another indicator that's not reflecting the apparent slowdown that we're seeing in many indicators of the US economy since the middle part of the first quarter or so. I'm referring, of course, to some of the housing numbers, industrial production, which actually didn't post a rise at all in February or March. It was flat. Auto sales have come off a bit. The jobs, of course, and so on. So a range of indicators telling us there's a slowdown in the US. A couple of indicators, including this well-respected one, the ISM, suggesting that maybe things haven't slowed relative to the first part of the year. Having said that, the ISM, even at 54.8, is still only just inside the very low end of the range that was running from 2010, right at the start of that year, till the middle of 2011. So compared to earlier in the recovery, the ISM is still, well, it's just that it didn't decelerate in April. And that's really about it in terms of market news from this side of the world. In terms of actual market moves, as I say, most of Europe closed, but the London market was up 1.3%. That was mostly achieved after that ISM result was released late in the London session. The Dow is currently up 0.9% at 13,331. Again, actually it was in negative territory just before 3 o'clock London time, but all of that gain was on the back of the ISM. In commodity markets, we're looking at gold pretty much unchanged at $1,665 an ounce. Copper is up 1/3%, and oil's up just over 1% at $105.90 a barrel. The Aussie dollar's at 1.0429 against the US dollar. It's recovered a little bit of the close to 1 cent drop that it experienced after the Reserve Bank's of Australia's 50 basis point cut was announced. On that, Westpac has adjusted our forecast profile. Our view had been that the Reserve Bank would move in 2 steps in May and June. They've moved a bit more aggressively than that on this occasion, but we think the case actually is really there now for us to crystallise the downside risks to the rate view that we've been talking about for some time, and we now formally expect the Reserve Bank actually to cut 2 more times this year, 2 more quarter-point cuts, taking the cash rate from 3.75 where it is at the moment down to 3.25 by the end of this year. That's going to reflect the slowing we're seeing in the domestic economy, the lower than expected inflation outcomes that we've seen of late, and indeed a more disappointment on the global international scene, which we'll find out more about possibly as soon as later this week. Tomorrow, for example, we get the first read on April jobs for the US, published by ADP, their private sector payroll survey. So something to look forward to there. All right, that's it for the 1st of May. I'll be back again tomorrow.